FIRE is a movement that emerged in the United States and gradually swept the world. FIRE stands for the Financial Independence, Retire Early movement, which is based on the principle of maximizing income and minimizing expenses, allowing ordinary people to realize the desire to retire early. After all, who wants to work if they can retire early? The FIRE movement was born during the first internet bubble and thrived during the 2008 financial crisis. Contrary to popular belief, the economic crisis may have facilitated rather than hindered its growth, and in the case of the new pneumonia epidemic, the FIRE movement has attracted more people to join it. Sure, the new coronavirus epidemic is still a tough test for the FIRE movement, but FIRE participants are financially disciplined and rational investors, many of whom are well prepared for a Black Swan event. When the biggest wave of unemployment in history hits, shouldn't you reflect on whether you are overly dependent on your job? To achieve early retirement, you must first understand your income and expenses. For example, calculate your true hourly wage, make a monthly income and expense statement, and ask yourself if you are getting the same amount of satisfaction from using your life energy. Ask yourself how your spending patterns would change if you were not working for money. Make investments with the goal of financial independence, etc. All of these steps actually revolve around one of the most important concepts, which is to rethink the relationship with money. To achieve FIRE, the goal of earning money is only to make life more satisfying. Becoming a rich person is an afterthought. The first question to clarify would be, how to feel satisfied. In Early Retirement Extreme, a book published in 2010, the concept that relative income is more important than absolute income is introduced. Relative income is the idea that you will have a higher savings rate if you have a higher relative income than the number in your bank account. In this way, you can achieve your retirement goals more quickly. Simply put, a high-income person who lives in a high-rent area and lives a high-expense life will actually have a lower relative income than a person with a medium salary who lives a low-expense life. Therefore, under the concept of relative income, the latter is more likely to retire early and enjoy life. Traditional financial advice used to be to save 10% to 15% of your monthly income, but this book is an extreme 75% savings advice so that for every year of work, you can pay for 3 years of living expenses. However, to achieve such an extreme savings rate, clothing, food, housing, and entertainment must be very frugal, and the normal person's housing rent alone is already more than this figure. All of the above is still on the conceptual level, so has anyone actually succeeded? Pete Adini, now 47 years old in the United States, was originally a software engineer who started to try out the FIRE concept after coming into contact with it, and finally retired successfully at the age of 30 and is regarded as a master of frugality. In 2011, he also created a blog, Mr. Money Mustache, and began to share his FIRE life. Then also led to a lot of FIRE people appear. These people are usually not the image of the rich people who live in luxury houses and drive sports cars. On the contrary, they wear simple life, and even more frugal than normal people. So how to successfully achieve FIRE? There are 2 rules. The free figure and the 4% rule. First of all, you need to calculate your annual expenditure multiplied by 25, which is the free figure. Put this free figure into a stable and safe investment vehicle. If there is a way to get a steady annual return of 4% or more, you can use this 4% return to maintain the needs of daily life. For example, if you calculate that you need $1,000 per month to live, the free figure is $1,000 times 12 months times 25 years. This works out to $300,000. The next step is to invest the $300,000 and get 4% of the annual living expenses, which is $12,000 per year. This is the threshold for early retirement so that you can pursue your true passion after quitting your job. To achieve a steady 4% annual return, you may have to choose a long-term, stable investment approach and abandon high-return, high-risk investments. This number is different for each person. The simpler your life is, the less you have to spend, the easier it is to reach the freedom figure. So you can start by making a satisfaction list of 10 things that make you feel satisfied. It could be spending time with important people, exercising, waking up every day, or anything that makes you satisfied. Then you'll discover that the things that really make your life great may not be as high spending as you thought. When you spend your first savings on a fancy car or a designer handbag, your savings will not only be smaller, but your freedom numbers will also be higher, putting you further away from retirement. This is why most FIRE people live a very simple life. In practice in reducing expenses, it is also recommended to increase income sources to try to reach the freedom figure faster. The FIRE concept is so attractive and is spreading fast because the idea is easy to understand, but it may not be as easy as you think to actually implement. Some people, therefore, adopt extreme frugality. For example, they move to the suburbs, cut back heavily on recreational activities, and make it a rule to spend only what is necessary. Others, who are more moderate, maintain the quality of life they had in the past while saving and investing. Others are semi-fire, and will still do some part-time work after retirement to get health insurance and a small income from the company. As for the fire people after retirement life have. In Virginia, Brad Barrett and Jonathan Mendonça, who have 4 children, reached their goal of retiring as podcast hosts before they were 40, promoting early retirement. And Christy Shen and Bryce Leung, the Dolphins, decided to retire from the tech industry and start traveling the world after seeing their colleagues paralyzed at work for 14 hours. At the time, they were just about 30 years old, and they didn't hesitate to choose between carrying decades of mortgage debt and early retirement. The Ryckens moved from Southern California to Oregon to retire early because they found that they would have had to work until they were 90 if they had stayed in Southern California. In addition, they have documented this life-changing choice in a documentary, Playing with Fire. But not everyone agrees with fire, and Suze Orman, a leading financial expert in the US, thinks the idea is naive. The fire lifestyle can't handle the unexpected, Orman said in an interview, and she understands that people want to retire early at a young age, but as we age, more unexpected things happen in life. Car accidents, illnesses, natural disasters, etc. At $30 million, she believes that if you can be as rich as she is, then maybe you can choose to retire early. But if you only have $2 million, you should reconsider. She thinks early retirement needs at least $5 million to $10 million to be enough. It is the same as giving up the opportunity to let compound interest continue to accumulate wealth, because too early retirement is the same as giving up the opportunity to let compound interest continue to accumulate wealth. She also said that if you play too much fire, you may indeed be burned. And Orman's words undoubtedly hit many young people who aspire to early retirement. So some people are starting to shy away from fire. But to put it another way, Orman's advice does not dismiss fire altogether, but rather reminds the public that they need to be more cautious in planning their financial situation and life goals so that they are not caught off guard when the unexpected comes. For example, in the recent COVID-19 outbreak, the 4% rule will be lost when unforeseen circumstances arise. However, fire has also been criticized as unrealistic, as it is only applicable to the middle and upper income groups. For the low-income population, even the general expenses cannot afford, let alone 75% of the savings. Most of the people currently practicing fire are indeed in the professional fields of technology, pharmacists, and executive-level workers. If a person is working for minimum wage and has been carrying family debt since childhood, it is very difficult to retire early. Finally, whether you want to live the fire life or not, you can try to understand what money means to you. The main axis of fire is not to teach people to make money, but more like a new way of life with the concept of financial management as the starting point. Early retirement is a way to regain control of your time. The meaning of retirement is not lying on the beach every day drinking and sunbathing, but means that you no longer need to live a life of forced labor. Here is Monopony. Welcome to like, comment and subscribe. See you next episode.